First video after lunch. Pete and I are a little bit excited. We got some rock and roll tones going in here today.
Woo-wee!
And it's the middle of the British summer. It's the hottest day of the year.
It is so hot.
It's hot!
Welcome to Guitar Paradiso. He's Mick.
And he is Pete.
I am. And this is so warm in here. It's ridiculous. But it's great.
Yeah, it's warm, not least because we've got two cooking valve amplifiers behind us.
Victory.
The Sheriff 22 and the Sheriff 44, much spoken about amps.
Yeah.
Launched back at NAMM. Took a little while to get right and to get out to market, but now it's done. They're available. Happy days. I should declare an interest in this because I do the demos for Victory and organise some of their media work, so...
Just so we got that.
Just so we've got that out of the way. So yes, you will see me in the official Victory demos as well.
Yep.
So you know, the best amps in the world, and you should buy them. No. Hopefully that what that brings to the party is
that you know what you're talking about.
A little bit of knowledge about what's gone on and what's in them and all the rest of it.
Well, then tell me about them then.
Okay, so two models, same amp, but for a couple of main differences. So Sheriff 22 is a 28 watt, just to, you know.
It's not Sheriff 28?
Nope. EL84 powered amplifier, and the 44 is a 45 watt EL34. So EL84s, EL34s.
Yeah.
That one's got a bigger output transformer. Obviously, it's more powerful. It's in a wooden sleeve. Yep. So clearly, that one's geared to guys thinking about gigging, playing a bit louder,
yep.
Or conversely, who might want a bit more clean headroom.
Yeah.
The 28. Meanwhile, 22, should I say, the 22 is in a metal chassis. It's quite a bit less expensive, and instead of a low power mode, which that one's got, we'll come on to all of this in a sec. Yep. It has a separate power soak speaker output for 0.3 watts, which is
really cool,
really quiet,
yep.
Proper, genuine bedroom level.
Exactly.
As opposed to a low power mode, which is still too loud for bedroom.
Yeah.
Other than that, they have the same kind of front-end setup, as it were. There are two channels, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 is the higher headroom. Volume 2 has a little bit more gain, and it's slightly more pronounced in the mid-range.
Okay.
So you might think of it more as your solo thing, but that's not necessarily the case.
Okay.
Channel 1's also a tiny bit more compressed.
Yeah.
But obviously, as you can tell by the aesthetic, going very much for classic.
There's something classic going on there, definitely.
Plexi, you know, British blues into rock, and the thought is that Channel 1's going to take you from sort of mid to late 60s British blues sounds, so thinking about people like Clapton, obviously.
Yep.
Hendrix wasn't British, but he's in that he's in that gang for the, you know, from 67, 68, and then into Cream. Bit of Zepp, obviously, because that's important. So all those Marshall sounds you think of throughout the 70s, into heavier early Van Halen.
Ooh.
So that's,
I'm not playing any Van Halen.
that's kind of the scope of the. And you, no, nor me. We'll have to find a guitar with a humbucker and see what happens. Oh, look, there's one.
Oh, God!
So there you go. That's the outline. It comes with its own with a V212 VH cabinet, which has one Celestion Vintage 30 and one G12 anniversary. So the H magnet, the heavy magnet.
And I've now mic'd them up with, so they've got a microphone on each, and you get a blend of those two. So it's kind of like we would hear in the room.
Oh, that's a great shout.
It's kind of mic them up like that.
The 44 is going through the correct cabinet. The 22 is actually going through the standard Victory 2x12 upright closeback cab, which has two vintage 30s, because there's going to be people out there who have that cab
already.
And so I mean we've been doing demos all day with it.
Yeah,
and
sounds great.
Yeah, it does sound good.
Yeah,
does sound
nothing wrong with that. So the little one comes with a shoulder bag as well. I know you dick a little man bag, you know, for your stuff. So so for people like Mick, you know, that likes a man bag for your amps, there you go. You get one of those with them.
Actually, if you haven't seen one of the compact heads up close, or indeed carried one, do it. It's good. It's a strange revelation where you've got kind of amp and pedal board over one shoulder,
and a cabinet in the other.
Guitar and cab,
because there is, in this range as well, there is a 1x12 Victory cab, which you can of course use it with, so you get a tiny little setup 1x12, and you know, they do all the other amps. So the V30, the V40, it's the same size, and
same chassis.
Yeah, same chassis. So so if you know those, that's the size. That's the size it is as well.
Okay,
tonnage.
Pete, I'll twiddle if you like. You run through. Looks like we've got a loose.
Okay, so what also, I don't know if you mentioned, so it's got two channels, and I think that might just be that that ES335.
Yeah.
Mine is a bit old. You can plug into input 1, or you can plug into input 2. If you plug into input 2, you have a pedal, as I've got here. This comes with it. Ta-da! And that will change the channels, right?
Channel, yeah. I mean, it is a channel switching amp.
Yeah.
But it's not, I mean, it's a shared EQ and a shared master volume, so it's not a channel switching amp in like the sense of a modern channel switching amp. No. It's really two versions of the same thing. So,
we'll probably just kind of do that instead anyway. Yeah, but the cool thing about these as well is that they've got a master switch on the front, which for me is very handy, because I used to have a 72 plexi head, and that was really, really loud. So I changed it for one. I had somebody built a little master switch in the back, on the back of it, which was great because you could actually turn that down.
Yeah, and for anyone who's interested in detail, it's a post-phase inverter master volume as well, which is significant in the design of some amps, because when you turn it all the way up, it's properly out of the circuit, so it can act like a non-master volume amp if you want to.
Yeah.
It has other issues in terms of how the effects loop work, but for those of you who care about that kind of thing, what it means is when it's quieter, the front end of it is actually driving a bit harder than it would otherwise. So
so you can turn it all the way up on the master, and then you just put the gain in like that, and then you get the most headroom, clean.
Let's do that, shall we?
Let's do it.
Right, I'm just going to plug the foot switch into this one so that we can switch between channels.
Okay.
So, Pierre.
Yeah, I've got one of these double agent Reverend guitars here, which we shot a video on earlier, and I really like it.
Okay, so we're in channel
P90.
1, volume 1, as it were, and the master is kind of 2 o'clock, and the gain is almost down to 7 o'clock.
Not so much o'clock.
Actually, 8 o'clock, maybe 8:30.
Okay.
Time for breakfast.
And nothing in the effects loop, just a clean tone. So you weren't expecting those chords, were you?
I wasn't.
From a...
Well, interestingly, if you want to hear it with other clean guitars, check out, there's a Gretsch video that's either gone out already or about to come out where we used it. And we've used it in all the videos today, haven't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, so where were you on the volume control for that?
Full.
So that's full up.
Everything on full, on the P90. I'll play this lovely chord again. That is a nice chord, isn't
Keep
it?
going.
Bites in.
Yeah. So what you should be hearing there is it covers that really ace place between. If you've ever played a JTM 45, you've got this really big extended bottom end, but to get the thing working, it starts to get eye-wateringly loud very quickly. Mm-hmm. With the master up full on the 44, you get that kind of. I can only describe it as kind of blink. It makes you blink when you hear it. It's that. Visceral, loud.
We on high
power,
power now,
and there's something else about that in a sec. So instead of what you can do is have a really nice balance of how much blink you get and how much front end compression you get. If you just do that again a sec, Pete.
Okay.
So, like a very crude example of how, even in channel 1, there's pretty much any combination of loud, blinky, powerful, visceral, clean, and breakup.
Yeah.
Gets pretty hairy pretty quick.
I did actually turn this. Got a bass roll off the switch. I just turned it off a little bit there, but I'll leave the bass switch on full. And
similarly, I'm just gonna, just so you can see, I'm gonna just unplug that guitar from there and plug that into the 50 a sec. Sorry, I'm going to have to do a bit of rerouting. Okay, so I've plugged Pete into the 22 now, so yay! Same business. Right, here we go. So, the first question is the 22 loud enough and does it have enough headroom?
Yes. It's loud enough.
I mean, that one is kind of punch you in the face.
Yeah.
That one, slightly less so, but there's still a ton of dynamic.
And that's just over 12 o'clock master then?
No. When you were playing...
Oh, you had it? Okay, sorry. I don't have eyes in the back of my head, but I should have.
You're a daddy, you need to. Okay, so there you go. That sets up the context of the 2 amps.
Okay.
Goody
two shoes.
So there we go. So let's have a look at the gain range of channel 1. Should we do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Happy with that guitar?
I'm very happy with this guitar.
Great.
It's got a P90. It's got a humbucker. So great.
Okay.
What we need.
Let's do it.
Shall I start on the humbucker?
Yeah, I'll just show you the gain range of channel 1.
All right. It's like that, isn't it?
Yeah, but when you turn the gain up, it gets
it saturates it.
Much squashier.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
so what's the
No, go on. Sorry.
In the back there's the fixed bias and the cathode bias.
Yeah.
Because that's what I heard somebody tell about when you do that. When you that sag sort of tightens up a little bit.
Okay, so we'll set that sound up again, and I'll flick between. So as Pete said, on the back panel, there's you can switch the output section between fixed bias and cathode bias.
Yep.
Fixed bias gives you the full 45 watts.
Okay.
Cathode bias drops the wattage a bit, which at lower volumes gives you a kind of more visceral and gives you more dynamic.
Okay.
But as you push that cathode bias mode, it loses headroom more quickly.
Okay.
So here you go. I'll set it up with that that overdrive sound you had.
Okay.
Nope, I've just turned it off. There you go. Try that. Yeah. So keep playing.
Okay. You can easily hear that.
So fixed.
I don't need to do anything.
As I said, fixed bias gives you much more headroom.
Yeah.
So if you're playing louder and you don't want the thing to compress as much, fixed bias is for you. However, at lower volumes, so we'll turn it down a bit. Off you go, Pierre. That's interesting. It's interesting because it's doing a very similar thing at lower volumes.
Yeah.
Just gets a bit chewy under chewier under the fingers.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's a great amp.
It's as much as it is a tonal, because obviously what you're hearing in this video is you're hearing the main tonal changes.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is how it feels.
Yeah.
The compression.
Yeah.
Do you find that?
Yeah. Kind of, but you know what I'm like. I kind of like clean tones, and then I stick stuff on top of it.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing. And if I do use amps like this, where you kind of get the drive from the amp, then it's kind of more of a studio thing. I don't know if it's because when I do gigs, if I don't trust it. I think I've got a little bit of a trust issue with dialing an amp in a rehearsal environment, in a studio environment, and taking it out on the road, and it's going to sound the same. If you knock it a little bit there, the switch goes, and you never really know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where a pedal is kind of a bit more, you know what you've got in the amp, and then I'm not saying that I don't like it. I think it's a great amp, but I think for me it's more of a clean. So that's why I would like to do some cleans on it as well, just sort of.
It's a very different mindset. So so many newer amps are what you might say designed very much with pedals in mind. So Victory's V40 is a good example
Pedal friendly.
of that. With this,
yeah,
yes, it takes pedals, but I think the whole ethos of it was much more for those guys who just can't be bothered with all of that.
And also, if it is sort of that sort of JTM 45, you know,
into plexi.
That's plexi. That kind of thing. That is literally just, you know, that's what they do, and you just roll back a little bit, you know.
Yeah, but
that's great.
But also having that master volume to be able to just tame it back.
Exactly. So you can do a clean tone.
So you want to try some more cleans?
Just if you.
Well, I tell you what. Let's head off into. Let's just show what Volume 2 does a sec.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll switch between them.
Exactly.
So if you give me some more love.
Keep going.
So as you can hear, you can either set them up to have very sort of similar levels of gain.
Yeah.
But Volume 2 has just a bit of extra high mids and maybe a little bit less bottom end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did it
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit more sort of saturated as well for me. It's a bit more overdriven or distorted or whatever your preferred word.
That's the general idea.
Yeah.
Or you can set volume 1 to a lower gain and
great.
2 to higher.
So there we are. Shall we move on?
Yes.
To the next amp.
Right. So I have a common or garden Fender Strat here.
Well, common garden. It's a second-hand guitar that's come into Andertons.
Pete posted some pics on Facebook of this a couple of days ago, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, it is. It's stunning. It's a heavy relic. I think it's one of the early. So because I've got mine here. Not that we're talking about Strats, but this is mine, and that's a 99, and the serial number on that starts with R1, and that's 99. What is that? R5. So that's a bit later on.
I don't even know what that means.
Anyway, so that's just this is an early one. That's a bit mid 2000, I say, but it's lovely.
And if I didn't value my marriage so much, I would give Mr. Anderton my credit card tomorrow and walk home with this.
Yeah, I would give it now if I could. But there we are.
Well, there we are.
Anyway, it is lovely.
So, 22. Let's go into channel 1, volume 1. Fender Stratocaster.
Stratocaster. Oh man.
So that volume was up full on the guitar there when I got there in the end. Just is an idea of what we were talking about earlier about that quite visceral, and you can hear that pickup's a little bit weaker than they were in that guitar, so it's not pushing it as hard.
Yeah.
So it stays cleaner. And if we push the gain in channel 1.
That's a good sound. That's a good sound. I'm gonna just. Can we set them up similar as you had them before, and then if I give you this cable, you play the same thing. Just because we got different cabinets, different amp, but I just wanted to hear.
You want the lead?
No. I want you to just play the thing again on the other one. No?
Yeah.
No. Just take that plug that yourself in. Do you know what I mean? That's my plug. That's your plug. Back to the 22.
That one sounds like it might be driving a little harder.
Yeah.
Could be a bias thing. Don't know.
Yeah, it could be a bias thing. It could be whatever.
Sorry about the squeaky chair.
Could be the cabinets in the room.
Oh, that's another thing.
Speakers,
because we're
cabinets,
running 2 vintage 30s
exactly.
here.
So
that's what that is.
So amps actually sound completely different on different cabs and stuff, and we talked about speakers today, and some speakers doesn't work with some amps, and other. Do you remember when we had them? We tried all the speakers out just to get which one we prefer. But that's up to you, which you like. Which one you prefer. Great amp though. Great amp.
Did you just swear, Peter?
I didn't. I almost did.
Okay, alright, so the just one extra thing I want to do is I've got 2 pedals on the floor here.
Oh, here we go.
That may seem kind of familiar.
One got 3 actually, but...
One is a Univibe full tone mini Deja vibe with the rocker on it. And the other one is a new fuzz from Morgan, which is actually just a silicon fuzz. So let's...
What? Oh man, that's good!
Nothing wrong with that.
That is so good!
Nothing wrong with that. I tell you, that Morgan fuzz is a very nice surprise.
For fuss sake, that is absolutely great. That's the first time playing. Well, we did actually do the video NARM last year,
Yeah.
and we did play, but you didn't seem to remember that. Maybe sort of there was so many videos and so much stuff, and there's been so many pedals since. But that is absolutely brilliant.
That's as good as Silicon Fuzz as I've ever heard.
And it goes really well. These
Yeah.
things take pedals. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to quickly do this. 'Cause I have got a pedal as well. I'm not going to do all of that stuff, but I have got a clean tone. That's not clean.
There you go.
Got that. Pretty clean.
Yeah.
I've got my Gristle King here on the floor. And a T-Rex replica.
So I don't know if you got a sort of gist of that while we were setting it up. I know Pete doesn't like too much kind of amp distortion, so we started off and it was a bit compressy and it wasn't very dynamic, and then all we did was just knock the volume, the input volume down a bit.
I fiddle a little bit down here.
You fiddled down
There's
there.
a flavour switch, I just flick that over.
And I think the important thing to say about that is that all of us are looking for that ideal balance of gain and volume, right?
Yeah.
Because we've all got our different places where we're happy.
Yeah.
And on a traditional master volume style amp, that can be a problem.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you've got one volume.
Yeah.
But I hope that demonstrates that you can set that up on here quite nicely and very dynamically. Which, you know, to be fair, a lot of amps will do. But
that's, you know, as you say, I don't like. I've got, so I use a lot of a clean amp, but I'll use a T-Rex Muller, and I'll probably have that on all the time.
Yeah.
So it just a little bit of gain from the pedal. If I don't have that, and I've got an amp that can give me that, then I'll use a little bit of gain from the amp. But otherwise, normally I would just have have the Muller on just a little bit, where you mix, because that's got a mix switch, so you can mix in the clean signal with the drive signal. So you just get it in the background, but you still hear the clean, and that's kind of that. So I know that I can do a really nice kind of clean. Something like that, but you know, so I can do clean sounds, because most of the time I need a clean sound.
Yeah,
for
that
for
works.
whatever. So that works. Or the funky stuff. It's all that clean, even the blues. Anyway,
that's cool. That guitar sounds great.
Is it? It does sound good, doesn't it?
Okay,
cool.
so we did the fixed and cathode bias thing earlier. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get Pete to play some of that lead stuff again, and I'll switch down from where we are now into low power and then into low power cathode bias.
On the 44.
So you'll just get an idea of how much the volume drops.
Yep.
And you can, yeah, go on then. Off you go. So that gives you an idea of just how much the low power mode switches things down. It's 6 watts when it gets down to there.
Fantastic.
And I mean, it just all went away, didn't it?
Yeah.
So
it all goes away. Yeah.
You could happily practice with that.
Yeah.
The
moving on to the, you need to do the same with that one.
The 22 does it slightly differently. So actually, Pete, if you wouldn't mind, I'll play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we need to turn it off because it's got a separate speaker output for the 0.3
yeah.
watts.
We'll do a little close up now.
So let's run it like there.
Yeah.
And then try this 335. Just give you a quick idea of how that sounds. Pete's lovely 335. Okay.
That sounds great.
Sounds pretty cool.
So switch it in here to the standby.
Yep, and then just literally.
And then on the back here, you go into the next along and back down.
As you can hear, that is a radical volume drop, and then you can literally crank it.
I'll crank up here. Go for it.
So this is it, flat out in 0.3.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go flat out both of them.
Flat out 0.3.
Flat out.
Flat out.
Flat out. And I'm just gonna put it into channel 2. Channel 2.
Dos.
Dosos.
Actually, you can really hear the difference in the EQ there, where it's kind of
more,
there's more upper mids and
exactly.
less bass.
Van Halen on a 335.
Yeah.
No.
But if you want to see somebody playing Van Halen really well on it, or Van Halen style, should I say, look at the official video on the Victory YouTube channel and watch that being done properly.
Yeah, right.
But that at least gives you an idea of the difference between the high power and the low power, the gain ranges in each channel, the difference between the 22 and 44, which in terms of volume isn't huge, and that's the main question that a lot of people are going to have.
And there we are.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell, I think that's it, isn't it? Really?
I think it is.
I think we are there. I think if you want to try them out, you should come in to Andertons and try them, and you can try them with different cabs. You know, you can try all sorts of combinations. Links are below. Amazon store. And I'm Pete.
I'm Mick, and this was the Victory Sheriff 44 and the Sheriff 22, and if at any point I refer to them as V44 or V22, just slap me and kick me out. Yeah.
See you later.
Cheerio!